Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this one. This one is talking about hiring a VA. So the process. So some of you have been here and you know our reasoning for hiring a VA. There's a couple of videos in the Matrix that talks about this. If you go to the webinars and podcast module, there is a webinar in there from John Jonas, who is the CEO of OnlineJobs.ph. That's where we get all of our VAs from. And there is a video in the Seller Central section of the Matrix that goes over how to go about the process. But someone asked about how we go about finding ours. So I'm going to go through that right now. If you want this document, it's a step-by-step document. Just email support and I'll be happy to share this with you. I will actually be reading off of it. So if you have any questions or anything like that, let me know. The first thing is to start with OnlineJobs.ph or any other service that you want to use. And I thought I put them on here. There is FreeUp, Elance, and there's a couple of others where people go to find freelance workers. But definitely the first step is going to be to post a job or search for resumes on OnlineJobs.ph. If you want to, you can put in here FBA and search that, and it'll bring up people that are familiar with Amazon, if this will actually work. Maybe it won't. Okay, but normally it does. And you can look at different workers on their platform. So let me try logging in and see if that. So you're going to either post a job or search for resumes on there. You can use a different service, as I mentioned, but the steps are going to differ a little bit based on what platform you're looking at. You're going to look at their salary requirements, the hours they prefer to work, and how they rate their skills. You can also narrow this down by the monthly salary requirements, the employee type, and all that stuff. So you can see right here that she's looking to make $291 to $380, $388 a month. Or on weekly, she's looking to make between $1.82 per hour to $2.42 cents per hour. So that's the salary that she's looking for. It'll tell you if they're looking for part-time or full-time on here as well, what their experience is, their skills summary, and then if you view her full profile, she will kind of go through, she will rate herself on her skills in these areas. And John Jonas, who is the CEO of Online Jobs, said that the people in the Philippines are usually pretty honest about what their skills are, so they're not like us, where people like to lie and say, oh, I can do this, and then you bring them in and they're like, oh, you really meant that I need to do this? So you want to make sure that you take a look at that area. Find a candidate that you feel would be a perfect fit. Send them an email to have an interview. Now, if you do want to communicate with people on OnlineJobs.ph, there is a fee for that. So the free membership, you can look at resumes and things like that, but you can't get in contact with them. So you have to join the platform to do so. And it is $69 a month to join Online Jobs. So you can join it for a month, then get off of there. Or if you know of other ACE members that are looking to hire VAs, you can go in with them, break up that fee, and then you work together to get that VA before that month runs out, so you don't have to pay another $69. So this is kind of why we have the networking lunch, because we want you guys to get used to each other, get to know each other, so that when things come up like this, you can be like, oh, hey, I know you, we met. Are you looking for a VA? I'm looking for one. Can we kind of split this cost together? So definitely use the resources that you have. You can either do a Skype interview or an email interview. Some VAs may not want to get on Skype because they're shy or not confident with their spoken English. So make sure that you take that into consideration. We have a head VA. She's been with us for years. She is amazing. She actually hires all of our VAs now. So we're removed from this process. So she'll go into her community if she has friends or if she knows someone. She will let us know and be like, oh, I hired someone for this position. And because we trust her, we're like, all right. So we're kind of removed from this, that we don't have to look for our own. Yes. I don't know. I have to talk, because she does have a ton of stuff that she does. So I email, yeah. Send the email to support and I will talk to Sam about it, just because I have a lot going on, just so that I don't forget it. You're welcome. During the interview, make sure you talk to them about what your expectations are. If you posted your own job, those expectations should be in that job listing. Now, in the matrix, we have a set of questions that you can use when you're having an interview with the VA. It's in the members file section, and it's interviewing a VA. And there is a file here of potential questions that you can ask them. So you can definitely use this as a starting point. But please feel free to add more that are tailored to that specific job. So if they are going to be sourcing for you, those questions are going to be a little bit different than if you're hiring them for a personal assistant. And we actually do have a couple of clients that use their VAs as personal assistants. There's a client where he gets on the phone with me and his virtual assistant, and she actually takes point during the coaching call. So she'll ask me the questions, and then if he needs to follow up on anything, he'll do that. So depending on how skilled your VA is, you can absolutely do that. She sends us questions to support instead of him. She participates on the webinars. So if you can find a good VA, that is definitely something that you can utilize as well. When you hire them, make sure that you're clear on salary, work hours, and your expectations. For example, our VAs, they work the same hours that we do, so that there's no lag. So if I had a question for our VA, I just can hop on Skype with her, ask her. If I need to do a screen share with her to show her how to do something, I can do that right away, and she has no problem with that. Yes. Get into that. Get into that. You keep jumping ahead, Himanshu. You keep jumping ahead. Yeah, I'm going down. It's actually 2 spots away. No, it's on this sheet. I tried to give you as much information as possible. I tried to anticipate everything that everyone's going to ask me. So make sure that you're clear on all that. Your expectations, like what the work hours are going to be, breaks, what you want them to do, the expectations in that. So if I want them to source, how much I expect them to source a day. You want to be as specific as possible so they know what the expectations are. Yes, I just mentioned that before. So when we hire our VAs, we make sure that they will work the hours that we work. So our VA, she works at night. So she has kids during the day. So this actually works for her so that she can work through the night, spend time with her kids during the day, and sleep while they're at school. So our VAs, when I come in the morning, that's when she starts working. When I leave in the evening, that's when she stops working. So they work the same exact hours that we do. So right now it's nighttime. She's going to work through the night on all the stuff that we have her work on. And her team of VAs do the exact same thing. I think we have 11 VAs that work with her. So, and they all work our same schedule. They do a ton of different things, like all kinds of things. Like there's an infinite list of the things that they do. They work at their home. Some of them go into her home and work at her home. So it varies. Mm-hmm. But they do an immense amount of things. They source. They do record keeping things for us. They do contact Amazon things for us. They open up wholesale accounts. They run wholesale lists. They do you guys back end on your accounts. They do brand approvals. There's a massive list of things that they do. Yep. Mm-hmm. We don't have them buy. That's the only thing. We have clients that do have their VAs buy, but we do not give our VAs buying information. We will handle that step ourselves.
So how does that go?
They can add items to a cart and then let us know, and then we will buy it. But we don't have them buying things.
So you have guys have to see organize at the state hall.
Yes. So we use LastPass. So we give Gladys our, we don't give her the LastPass password. So with LastPass, the way it works is you store all of your banking information in there, your credit cards, your login information. And then there's a master password. And you have to have that master password in order to have access to all of the passwords. But you can send someone the login information without them being able to see it. That's a setting in LastPass. So for example, right now in this office, the only person that has the master password is Ike, myself, and then Sam sometimes when he doesn't forget what it is. I have texted it to him so much in the last couple weeks. It's kind of crazy, but we're the only ones that know it. So if we have to change it, I have to go around to everyone's computer in here and everyone's computer in the warehouse to change it. But not everyone in this office has access to the master password.
So master password is an admin, but the other passwords, like
You can go in the settings and decide to make it private. So if you want to check it out, just go to LastPass and play around with it a little bit. You can have different users on the account, and it'll let them, you can determine how much they can see. Yes. Not the ones that have talked about it. I'm sure because we don't recommend doing it, that if they do have a bad experience, they don't tell us about it. So the ones that I know of that have used it, they haven't had it. But they also use like the temporary credit cards where like the numbers change or things like that, so that they don't have access to actual credit cards all the time. So that's something to think about. We actually do have people that have their VAs purchase gift cards, and they do the same thing. Once again, we don't recommend it, but there are people that do it.
when someone goes to the RA, like the store, and the virtual credit card comes with that.
I believe it does. The people use it for RA sourcing. So people who have sourcers, or not sourcers, but people that have RA shoppers, they'll do it. I've talked about it a different time because it's almost time and I have to finish this one. So send a ticket to support and I'll talk more about that. Let me keep going with this one first. So train your VA, or we'll train them for you. Make sure that you follow up with how your company runs things, because everyone has different criteria that they want their VAs to look at. So make sure that they are aware of that. Also give them small tasks at first and see how they handle that, so that if you need to reinforce anything, you're aware of that. It depends on what the task is, but yes. Mm-hmm. So, Himanshu, your question. We have them install Time Doctor. It's monitoring software, and it's right on your sheet. It's Time Doctor. And it looks like this.
This software costs monthly or like what?
It costs $10 per seat per month. Yep. So if you have 3 people working, you're going to pay $30 per month for Time Doctor.
So basically it just takes the screenshots at random.
Yep, you can set the intervals if you want to as well. So what this does is they have to have it active so you can see how long they've been working, these green blobs are when they've been working, and it also takes a screenshot of what they're doing. So we've had to let go of VAs before because we've seen them messaging people. We've seen them watching movies, playing video games, listening to music, doing all kinds of things. So Time Doctor is actually really helpful with being able to see what they're doing. So I definitely would recommend getting that and using that to help monitor what your VAs are doing. Yes, because they have to turn it on in order to get the hours to get paid. So if they don't have it on, they don't get the time for that.
So basically that has to be turned on, and the moment it's turned on,
Mm-hmm.
so every day the person has to turn it on.
Yep, and turn it off.
Get turned on itself and itself, computer, like if I have to monitor my employee who works in my office.
Mm-hmm. So if she doesn't turn it on, then she didn't work 8 hours. Yeah. Yep. So if she doesn't turn it on, then she doesn't get paid for those hours. So be upfront with her.
What does it do?
It takes screenshots at different intervals. You can set the intervals so you can see what they're working on. And it also logs how long they are active in that session. Like, for example, if you look at it here, this green shows when they were working. So this is when she took a break. So they weren't working all this time. So I'm not going to pay them for that time. I'm only going to pay them for this green time.
So they have to be, their work has to be on computer.
Yep. Yep. Yes. We do. Oh, I'm next bullet. So we pay them using PayPal Friends and Family. So we usually start our VAs off at $2 an hour. So what we'll do is we'll take that information from Time Doctor and use that to determine how much they're going to get paid. So that's how we do that. So Jaquel actually pays our VAs, and then Gary and Ike do other payroll, but Jaquel pays our VAs. Some things to consider. If you want them to message people, make sure you see how their copywriting skills are, because there can be a little barrier with English. If they're using a template, this isn't an issue, but if they're going to be messaging people, you want to know how well their speaking skills are. Can they work the same hours as you do? This will cut back on back and forth with different time zones and different hours. I mentioned that. Do training videos on YouTube so that you can go through the process with them, and then you don't have to do it over and over and over again if you want to scale up. So it's like a training video. And the way that you would do that is go to YouTube, go over to Creator Studio, and then just go to live streaming. And then I don't have an account as this, but you just set up the live streaming, give it a title, and then mark it as unlisted. And then as whoever has that link, they can view the video. For some of you, if I've done a Google Hangout screen share with you, that's how I do it. And then you get the link and you can just go back and look at it. Himanshu, I've done them with you on Zoom, but I put them in YouTube so that you have the link to go back and look at it over again. So that's how we do it with our VAs. I do the exact same thing with her when I train her. Make sure that you ask some questions and follow up for clarification. Beware of the 13th month. So in the Philippines, in December, they have what they call the 13th month. So as their bonus, you pay them for a 13th month of work. So it's custom over there, something that they're going to be expecting. So just make sure that you are aware of that and that you take care of that. If you watch John Jonas's video in the webinar and podcast module, he goes through that a little bit more. And then some people don't like to hire VAs with previous experience because they feel that they may be stuck in their ways or they might have other Amazon employees. Just be upfront with your expectations for your VA. If you only want them to work for you, let them know, and that if you find out that they aren't, you're going to terminate their employment. Prior experience isn't necessarily a bad thing because they already know what to expect and won't quit working because they already know what they're getting into. Sometimes people will find VAs for us to train, and then we will get them and train them, and they won't even make it through the first night of training because it's not at all what they thought it was going to be. So prior experience isn't always a bad thing. So Ari, you can ask these questions at the end of the day because they're not on topic with finding and hiring a VA. So We'll get back to those later. The guidelines on rank and ROI that we give our VAs is the exact same thing that we give you guys. That's in the matrix. So ROI at least 50%, and then the sales rank. There is a module called members files where we give you all of the sales ranks for the different categories. So that's kind of what we use for those. But the other questions, those are more about our list that we send out. They're not about hiring a VA. I'll try and save these. If not, just copy them and paste them. You can send them to my email and I'll answer them. But this one has gone a little bit over. So if there are any other questions about hiring a VA, I'll be happy to answer those. Okay, Ari, I just saw your question. So you asked any ages of a VA that make a difference. There aren't any ages that make a difference as long as they can do the job. We have had more success with female VAs than we have with male VAs just because they are more detail oriented, so they pay a little bit more attention to things. Now we do have a couple of male VAs, we do have more female VAs, but the age doesn't make a difference. So let me answer that. And family responsibility to interfere with productivity concerns. We don't really have that. We have our VAs work during the nighttime, so most of their family is actually sleeping, so it's not so much of an issue. But if you install Time Doctor and you're monitoring what they're doing, you'll be able to see if they kind of like space out for a little bit or they're not doing things. But as for us, we don't really have that issue. A lot of the Philippine people aren't as questionable workers as some Americans are. They tend to be a pretty responsible, respectful group of people. So we ourselves really haven't had that issue. Okay, if you have any other questions, definitely send them to support. I'm going to end this one right now.